Yep. Good evening, everyone. So, last session, I given you overview about how to create a TypeScript project. So, we started the TypeScript language basics. So, creating a TypeScript project, how to use TypeScript in a web application. Have you tried that? You tried that creating a project with TypeScript? Anyone able to do it? Yeah, if you any issue is there, you can bring your laptop, right? If offline, you can bring your laptop. I can check that, right? So already I told you that you have to change the terminal to command prompt. If terminal is in PowerShell, then commands will not work. You have to change it to command prompt, then it will work. So here we started discussing about language basics also. TypeScript language basics we are learning. In language basics, yesterday we learned about one concept, that is how to handle variables. Yesterday I given, because JavaScript variables, TypeScript variables, both are same. So that is the reason for Angular, I am repeatedly saying JavaScript is mandatory. This is not for people who don't know JavaScript. You can't handle properly, because here we can't again explain what is if condition, what is variable, what is operators, what are statements, and all these things. So you should get ready with that JavaScript and come here. Here I am just brushing up those JavaScript basics here, and I am telling what is new in TypeScript. What is new in TypeScript we will discuss here. JavaScript basics I will not touch again and again here, right? So variables already we discussed. Variables can be declared in three ways. What are those? So we have var and another one let, another one const. Differences we learned. What is difference is var is function scope. Let and const are block scope. var allows declaring, initialization, assignment. Let also allows, but const allows only initialization. Var allows shadowing. Let and const will not allow shadowing. What is shadowing? Shadowing is redeclaring or reinitializing same name variable within the scope. That is called as shadowing. What is hoisting? Hoisting means declaring a variable from any location and accessing from any location. Actually, variable declaration must be before accessing. But here you can define any location. Who supports hoisting? Var support hoisting. Let and constant will not support hoist. These points already we learned. So variables concepts are same like JavaScript. I just given you overview, right? Another important, now in TypeScript you need to know data types. You need to know data types. So variables and data types. Actually, In computer programming languages, what is a data type? Actually, data type defines data structure. Data type defines data structure. Data structure means what type of data you can store and what range of data you can store. Generally, data type is not only what type of data, because at learning level, when we ask what is data type, you will think about only type of data. But data type is not just type of data, but also its complete structure, means what range of data. So data type defines data structure. That means it specifies the type of data and its range. What type of data you can store and what range of data you can store. Very important, JavaScript is not strongly typed. JavaScript is not strongly typed. That means there is no data type restriction. For example, I say var x equal to 10. Then here x is number. Into x, if I assign a string, then automatically x is a string. So there is no restriction for data type. That means you can store any kind of value. In order to restrict values, we have to use lot of validation. We have to write lot of validation. But TypeScript is strongly typed. That means in TypeScript, we can set restrictions. How do we set restriction is, when you declare a variable name, when you define variable name, there you can define its data type by using a colon, and you can define data type. So that means now that variable will handle only that particular type of data. So TypeScript is not like JavaScript. TypeScript is strongly typed. Actually, if any language is able to restrict the type and it is verifying the data type of values you are assigning, then that mechanism is called TypeScript follows duck typing mechanism. TypeScript follows duck typing mechanism. Duck typing is available in Python also. TypeScript follows duck typing mechanism. Why it is called duck typing? Because duck have a unique walk and duck have a unique quack. So by seeing the walk, you can say it is duck. By listening to its quack, we can say that it is duck. It have a unique reference. Programming languages also, by seeing a variable, if you can tell what type of data can be inside it, then it is duck typing. That means by seeing the name, you can tell. By seeing the name, you can understand what type of value can be inside. That is called duck typing. So TypeScript can restrict the data type. So we can define a variable with the data type. But actually, what are the data types is TypeScript data types. Data types are classified into two groups. We have primitive types, and we have non-primitive types. TypeScript data types are two types: primitive type and non-primitive types. So first we will see what are primitive types and what are non-primitive types then. So this concept is same like JavaScript. JavaScript also data types same. We have primitive types and non-primitive. Same JavaScript data types are used here in TypeScript also. So what are primitive types? Let's see first. What are the primitive types? So technically we have primitive types. What is the concept of primitive types is actually primitive types are immutable types. Primitive types are immutable types. Immutable means they have a fixed structure which cannot be changed. That means immutable types have a fixed structure. You cannot change. You have to use within that fixed range. So that means, for example, suppose here I am declaring some variable, suppose var x equal to 10. If I ask actually what is the x data type? X data type is number. If I ask how much number I can store in x, what number I can store in x, then what is your answer? What number I can store in x? It's not any number. We have limit. It's not any number. You can't store any number. There is a limit for number. And you cannot cross that limit. That means it is fixed limit. It must be within that limit only. You cannot increase or decrease the limit. A fixed range for values. These are called immutable types. Immutable types means so they have a fixed range for values, and value range cannot change. Value range cannot change. For example, I will show you. Actually, in your JavaScript, you might have seen that. I will show here this Visual Studio. Yep. So let's open our project that we created yesterday. The project that we designed. So yesterday was this one. TypeScript project. In this TypeScript project, we learned how to set up TypeScript and use it. And we have a TypeScript file index.ts. First, I will show you what primitive type is actually. Suppose see, if you want to know the limit of number, I will show you here. Document.write means I will show you the limit of number here. Document.write. So here we will use number dot min safe integer, and in the next line, so we will put number dot max safe integer. Just for your understanding sake, actually this is the minimum and maximum range of a number in JavaScript and TypeScript. This is the minimum and maximum range of number in JavaScript and TypeScript. So the range I am printing here, this is the minimum and maximum range. That means a number in JavaScript cannot be less than -900, cannot be greater than that +900. So that is why they are immutable, means fixed. You can't store any number. You can store only a number within this range. So a fixed range for values. the fixed range for values, we call this as primitive types. We call these as immutable types. Immutable types. Another important is value range cannot change. Another important is they are stored in a memory stack. They are stored in a memory stack. I hope you people know stack uses which mechanism? Last in, first out mechanism. That means the last value goes into memory. That is the first value that comes out. That is last in, first out. These are the point about primitive types. And what are the primitive types? TypeScript, primitive types. We have TypeScript, primitive types. TypeScript primitive types are, we have a number, we have a string, we have a boolean, we have a null, and we have undefined. This comes under primitive types. So JavaScript, TypeScript, primitive types are same. So what primitive types JavaScript provides? The same primitive types it uses. But what is difference is JavaScript cannot restrict type. But in TypeScript we can restrict type. We have number, string, boolean, null, and undefined. For example, now let's see here what is number type. That means we will see one by one how to handle these types. One small point. See. So dealing with number. So first we will see what is a number type. Number is nothing but it refers to signed or unsigned integer. That means it refers to numeric value actually. Numeric value. And in this numeric value, so many are there. That means it can be signed integer. It can be unsigned integer. It can be floating point. It can be double. It can be decimal. It can be binary. It can be hexa. It can be octa. So these all comes under number type. In JavaScript and TypeScript, if you are dealing with any of these, then they are number. Signed means what? Signed integer means it will have a negative sign. So minus 10, that is signed. Unsigned means what? Unsigned means positive. That means 10. Floating point means what? Floating point means maximum you can have up to 2 integer values and maximum you can have up to 2 decimal places, then it is floating. If integer is more than 2 or the fraction is more than 2, then it is called double. It is called double. If integer is more than 4, more than 3, if it is more than 3, then it is called decimal. And fraction can be anything. If integer is more than 3, then it is decimal, and it is having a fraction means it is decimal. So all are numbers only, but signed, unsigned, floating, double, decimal. Binary means 0, 1, 0, 1. These are binaries. So hexa means I hope you have learnt in HTML hexadecimal colors, how to apply hexa values. Hexa will have some numerical values, and it will have a alphabet range from A to F. I hope you know that. So 0 to 9 and A to F, a combination of that, hexa. We have octa. Octa is actually, it is a binary numbers, binary any representation, but it will have an octa O representation. O. Where they are used, I will tell you in later stages whenever situation comes. Right? Actually, in JavaScript, various concepts, you can work with these hexa and octa. Later when situation comes, I will explain them. Right? What is hexa, octa, where they are used. These all comes under number. Anything you are storing between these, then it should be number. So how to declare? See, let's go to our TS file. This is index.ts. In this, I am declaring a variable. So I am keeping this let. You can declare var, let or const, anything. Variable name I am giving as price, and its data type. Data type is colon, and the primitive type we learned just now is number. Number is defined directly like this. This is number. Now in this, you can initialize or you can assign. We already know that. If it is a constant, you have to initialize. Now you can assign. I am assigning price. Into that, I am storing some string. It is not valid because it says that, so price is a number and you cannot assign a string. So it is strongly typed. Now you have to store a number. This number can be, so any positive, or it can be negative, or it can be floating point. It can be double or decimal. It can be binary. So 0B 1010. It can be binary. That is actually binary 10. It is the binary representation of 10. So binary, it can be hexa, it can be octa. I told you later we will see when situation comes those, how to use different numbers actually. But anything between those, not only that, even I forgot one, exponent also. Exponent also comes under number. Exponent actually, it will have E as exponent. 2E3, that means 2 into 10 to the power of 3. That is exponent. 2 into 10 to the power of 3. That means its value is 2000. So that is also is a number. That is also a number. Suppose I defined like 2E3. This is also number. E is not a string. It will take it as a number. And see the result here. To print the result and test, what you can do is, in JavaScript, you might have learned so many output methods. Document.write, inner HTML, inner text. Here in TypeScript, to test here itself, you can use console.log. You know, JavaScript have console methods also. Console.log, and you can print here price. Price, I am printing price is equal to plus whatever the value of price. This is output. Don't use any HTML document elements. That means like document.write, inner HTML, inner text, because currently we are testing TypeScript. In TypeScript, in that case, don't use any HTML outputs. Don't use alerts, prompt, anything. You just use console log. Then what you can do, you can test here itself. Yesterday we saw that this need to be translated into JavaScript and linked to HTML. But now directly you can test here itself. How? You open terminal. So open terminal, right click on it, open in integrated terminal. It will open in the terminal like this. This is our project location. Actually, you can use a separate command prompt also and go to the location where you kept your TypeScript file. That means you can try it like this also. You can open command prompt and you can change to your project location. My project is in E drive, CD TypeScript project. It is TypeScript project. In the TypeScript project, we have a folder called src, cd src. In that we have index.ts file. So here you can compile. How to compile? tsc index.ts. It will translate and convert that into JavaScript. After converting into JavaScript, you can directly compile JavaScript file and see the output. How to do that? You can use Node compiler. You can use Node compiler. Node compiler already comes because you have installed Node.js. Already we installed Node.js in our computer. Node compiler comes. Here we can just compile the JavaScript program now. Node compiler for JavaScript program. What is the JavaScript program name? Index.js. Then it will show you the output of that file. That means you can put your JavaScript in HTML page and use it, or you can directly test like this. If you want to directly test in console, then don't use any DOM methods. JavaScript have DOM methods, don't use them. Directly you can use console log and you can test. If you are writing DOM methods like alert, document.write, you need to put this in the HTML page. Then only it will work. How to put in a HTML page? Yesterday we saw that. Here we can try this. While learning the language, you can try this, right? This is enough. So this is actually exponent operator. 2e3, and 2e3 is actually returning 2000. 2 into 10 to the power of 3. That is also under what type? Number. So to define numbers, how do we define numbers? Syntax in TypeScript, let, variable name, colon, data type is number. You can declare and you can assign a value. You can assign a value. This is assignment, am I right? Already we learned. If you want to set only initializer, we have already constant, price, what type, number, it needs a initializer. Na? So this is what? Initialization. This is initialization and this is assignment. So usually to store numbers, we have a number type. So what is difference in JavaScript and TypeScript? There are no data types. Here we have data types. And if you define data type as number, what kind of values you can store in it? You can store signed integers, unsigned integers, floating points, double, decimal, binary, hexa, octa, and exponent. These all values you can store in a variable if data type is number, right? That is number type. So this is a simple number, right? Next, important, in the data types we have a string type. String type. What is the string type? Actually, string type same like in JavaScript. Remember, all these no need to explain for people who came from JavaScript. I am wasting my time actually. I am wasting my time. That means our course duration is extending because of this. Because people who come to learn Angular, they must perfectly learn JavaScript and come. Then I can save 1 week of time of variables, data types, operators. Because already they learned this all in JavaScript. Here I am not teaching anything new. These are all JavaScript basics. right? So you may be feeling like I am explaining some new concept. I am very fast in explaining these topics because I don't want to waste time in these basics. What is new, those we will detailedly discuss. What is already there in JavaScript, these are very fastly overview I am giving, right? I am trying to make explanation of every concept for people who don't know proper JavaScript, right? Because without knowledge of JavaScript, you can't touch Angular, right? You can't be an Angular developer. Repeatedly, I am saying again and again, because later you will feel difficulty, right? Later you will say that I am unable to understand. 100% I am giving a guarantee that you can't understand if you are not good in JavaScript. So be careful, right? Because I am not explaining every concept. I am explaining the key features here. What is new in TypeScript, I will detailedly explain, right? Because you have to attend this batch only once you finish your JavaScript, right? But I see that many of you people are attending this without JavaScript. Then it's difficult. But still, I am trying to make you understand some topics so that you can continue. At any point you feel that you are unable to understand, then you please drop this batch, finish your JavaScript and come back to any another Angular batch that starts, right? But strictly in future you will face problem. So I will try to explain majority, right? But this is Angular is never for people without JavaScript. Who said to tell him that JavaScript is compulsory? Any another batch starts, you can attend. You understood what I am saying, right? You are saying that without JavaScript, somebody sent you and you are attending. That means that is your problem or his problem, not my problem. Understood? I don't care, right? I am telling that for learning Angular, JavaScript knowledge is compulsory. You are saying that somebody sent me so to learn Angular without JavaScript. I am saying that it is not for you. Okay? Tell the people who sent you that this is not for me, and don't get panic. If any another batch starts, so you finish JavaScript and attend that. Understood? Right? Don't get frustrated. You are very much frustrated. Don't get frustrated. Come here. Now, stand up first. Come. Angular you cannot attend without JavaScript. Understood? After finishing JavaScript only you can attend Angular. Tell them, talk to them. That's not my responsibility. That if you are unable to understand, go. I am saying that this is not for people who are not with JavaScript. Understood? Okay? Okay, na? Understood? Right. So here, let's see. But still, see, I am still giving you overview. Why? Because TypeScript is almost everything like JavaScript. I'm still giving the overview, right? So that you can handle it. But at any stage it is confusion. You have to concentrate more, right? So let's continue. We will ignore that point because JavaScript is mandatory for Angular. Okay, right. So now see, here we have two options. What is the data type? One is number type. Another one is a string type. So here important is string is nothing but what is string? It is a literal. String is a literal which can be enclosed in three options are there. We have double quotes, we have single quote, and we have backtick. So string is a literal which have these three things: single quote, double quote, and backticks. The JavaScript strings, so double quote, so single quote, backtick, what is difference? We will see. Actually, double quote and single quote you can use for representing outer string and inner string. Outer and inner string. For outer string and inner string, we can use single quote and double quote. That means, see here, suppose we are writing a simple link here. So let me give this in the notes for your reference sake, the number type. I will just, this example I will give, I will upload into the classroom. Here you see, now when you are dealing with a string, suppose I am defining link, it is data type is string. String can be in double quote, or string can be in single quote, or string can be in backtick. So what is difference is, see, suppose I am writing string like this, an anchor, that is a string. In this I am defining href, and href is equal to, I need another string, then you cannot use another double quote here. If outer string is in double quotes, then inner string must be in single quote. That means if outer string is in single quote, then inner string can be in double quote. You can switch between them. So when to use single and double quote combination? When you are dealing with inner and outer. If outer string is in double quote, inner must be in single. If outer is in single quote, inner must be in double. You have to switch between them. This is actually general string. We can use single quotes or we can use double. That is actually single and double quote combination. So how do we define? We are writing, suppose, let. So here we are defining some link, and in the link we are defining string type, and this is double quote anchor href. Inside string will be in single quote, some home.html, and we have some home and close, and this is double quote, right? There is another technique, let link, we can keep the type as string, outer string can be in single quote, href is equal to, this can be in double quote. You can write like this. A string can be defined in this way. That means the string in single and string in double. Now what is backtick? Actually backtick is newly added from JavaScript ES5 version. What is advantage of backtick is, actually backtick advantage, it allows a string with embedded expression. A string with embedded expression. How? See, I am typing, I am showing you simple option here now. Here I am creating LET and MSG1, message 1, it is a string. I am typing some message. For the message, let me first declare here LET username, it is a string type, is equal to some John. And LET age, it is what type? Number type and some age. And I want to display a message here. Message is double quote, hello, and I want username. How to concatenate the username with this string? We have to use a plus. Plus, what is the variable? Username. Username. And after username, I want to continue the string. If I want to continue the string, I will use another plus. And I will write here, hello, that username, you will be. After that, I want an expression age plus 1. Then how to concatenate an expression? Again, plus. We have to use a parenthesis and we have to write age plus 1. After that, again string should continue. Then again plus. And here we have to put a string, and here we will say you will be next year. This is what we are typing. That means hello, username, you will be age plus 1 next year. That is the string message. In this, lot of dynamic expression is required. And you know, you might have written like this only in everywhere, Java, .NET, anywhere, string concatenated. But lot of problem in this now, because lot of concatenation. Observe carefully. Let's print this console.log MSG1. I am printing this. Now you see here, I will go to the command line and print this. First we have to compile tsc. What is it? Index.ts. After that, we have to use node, and here we have to use node index.js. Node index.js. It is printing the string, but you can see lot of space issues are there. That means hello John, and there is no space. Then what we do is, generally for adding a space, as a general string representation, actually we should not use space here. We should put a blank space by using another plus and empty space. Am I right? We concatenate with a blank space. After username, again blank space. After you will be, again blank space. And after age plus 1, again blank space. Lot of concatenations. Now you see here, I am compiling this and enter, and you can see it is showing compile. we have to transcompile tsc index.ts and here node index.js. So let's run node index.js and you can see now it looks better. Hello John, you will be 23 next year. This is a very lengthy representation of a string. Now what is the specialty in the new latest version of JavaScript and same in TypeScript is see, I am writing let message to, it is a string type. Here we will use a backtick. We are using backtick. This is called backtick. This is backtick. It is not single quote. It is not single quote. It is a backtick. Backtick is available in tilde key. In keyboard you will see a tilde key. In the tilde key you will have the backtick. Here in backtick advantage is we are writing hello. Okay. After that I need to put a dynamic value. To put a dynamic value, dynamic expression can be embedded just by using dollar curly brace. This is dynamic expression in string. Dynamic expression in a string can be defined with dollar curly brace. Here you can define user name. After that we will continue the string now. That means space, I am saying you will be, again I need an expression. So wherever you need an expression, again dollar curly brace. What is the expression? Expression is what? Age plus 1. Okay. After that continue your string. What is it? Next year. So this is what we are defining. Now we will run this and see here console.log. Say here msg2. Second message also I am printing. Now observe the first message is very lengthy representation here. And the second one looks simple. It looks simple. Now let's run this and see. I will run both of them now. tsc index.ts and node index.js. So node index.js, index.js, and you can see both look same. But the second one looks better for our designing because here we are using a string with embedded expression, So here this embedded expression is not allowed in double quote or single quote. It is allowed only in backtick. For example, see now, I will put this entire string in double quote. I will put in double quote. Now it will not use this as an expression. So that means when you run that, when you compile and run that, you can see that it is going to use that complete symbol as general characters. You can see it prints that like this. Because expression is allowed only in backtick. It is not allowed in single quote or double quote. This is the representation of string newly in JavaScript latest versions. The same TypeScript also uses. So in TypeScript, you can configure string in 3 ways. So what is backtick? Backtick represents a string. It represents a string with embedded expression. It represents a string with embedded expression. And very important, expression is defined by using by using dollar curly brace. That is how we define expression. We define the expression. So syntax simply like this. Just I will give one option what I showed here. LET username, it is what type string? It is some John. LET age, it is number type, and it is some number. And here LET message, we will put a backtick. And here what we have to do, hello, and expression, we have to access user name. So, and I am simply keeping here your you will be, and I need some expression again, age plus 1, next year. That's how we can make it simple. I will give example what I showed you without backtick. Without backtick, with backtick, what is the difference? So I will copy this example. So I will copy this example for understanding both the techniques. So with backtick, without backtick, how to handle, right? This is generally how we can manage string. So number type, another one, string. Number means signed, unsigned, floating, double, decimal, and everything. String means single quote, double quote, and backticks. These days we use lot of backticks because any embedded expression, it is easy to represent. It is easy to configure, right? Now, while working with string, I hope you know one more concept is several characters in a string can escape printing. Several characters in a string can escape printing. String is a group of characters, and several characters in a string can escape printing. So then how to print those characters? For example, see now, here I am writing LET some photo. It is a string type, and here we are defining the photo is in D drive, D:/. It is in pictures. So I am giving pictures / it is in suppose photos, or say some JPG, or say some flower.jpg. Like this we have. This is a string. Now I am printing the string console.log. I am printing photo. Now in this string, we are using some special characters. Now compiler will skip some special characters. It cannot print them. Like compiler cannot print /. If it cannot print /, then what happens is, you see, some characters will escape printing. Then your path will go wrong. That means we are typing here TSC. We have index.ts and compile, and we will see here. So node dot index.js, and you can see the path is printed in a different way. Path is completely disturbed, and you can see / is missing, some F is missing, because some characters that you defined in a string, they are not printable. If any character is not printable in a string, I hope you learned in other languages also, to print non-printable characters, what you have used? To print non-printable characters in Java.NET, what you have used? You need escape sequence characters. escape sequence character. Am I right? You learned escape sequence characters, huh? Programming, right? Escape sequence characters. Escape sequence character means if any character is not printing, it is unable to print, then how do we print that character? We have to use a slash. Slash is used as an escape sequence character. Slash is used for escape sequence. That means to print non-printable character, you need an escape sequence character, that is slash. For example, here, this slash is missing. This slash is missing. Then what we have to do is, we have to use another slash. Then it will print that slash. This slash is missing. Then we have to use another slash. Then it will print that slash. If any character is escaping, it is not printing, you have to put a slash. Now you see here, now I will compile here. So let's compile this and run. Now when I compile this and execute, and you can see here, when I compile and run this, now it looks good. While working with strings, this issue is very common. When you write some special characters, those characters cannot print. If those characters cannot print, you have to manually print them by using a slash. Anywhere, for example, suppose I want to print this double quote. I want to print the double quote. Then I am writing a double quote here. It cannot print it. Then we have to put a slash double quote. I have to end here slash double quote. Then it will print the double quote. Any character which is not printable, you have to put a slash. That means now you can print the double quote also. When I compile and run this, and you can see it is going to print that and display. So here it is going to print that and display. That means the double quote is also printed here, right? This is basically how the characters are used while working with a string. So while dealing with string, you need to know all these points. So what is the escape sequence character? Slash. That means suppose you are defining like this syntax. We are defining some photo, and here it is a string, and we are writing some path, d:/ some images / some name.jpg, or say some pic.jpg, like this. Then how it is going to print? When you print it, it is going to print like this, d:/ images pic.jpg. That is the output. If I need to print it correctly, then how to define photo string, and here we need to define / images / pic.jpg. Then it is going to print in a correct way, d:/ images / pic.jpg. Whenever you are configuring the strings, this is important. So we have number type, another one string type. So TypeScript data types. In primitive types, we have a string and a number. One very great feature about TypeScript is actually TypeScript supports union of types. TypeScript supports union of types. Union of types means TypeScript is going to support union of type means you can declare a variable in such a way that it can handle multiple data types. How? Actually, see, the example I will give it here. This is example. So I will copy this example here. That is a simple one. Now see here, when you are declaring any variable, here we will see let, and I am configuring here. So a simple str or some reference name I am giving, value colon, data type I defined as string. After defining string, I am trying to put value is equal to some string. It is allowing the string. I am trying to put some number. It is not allowing. But TypeScript supports union of types. If you want to allow number also, then you can put a pipe symbol and you can keep the data type number. It will allow both. That is union of types. We need this very regularly because you know in HTML we will have a text box, drop downs and all. From text box we input a value. From drop down we input a value. From HTML, whatever value you input is a string. Then we have to later convert that into number if you want to deal with some numeric operation. For that you have parsing methods, conversions. So initially we are expecting a string. After that we will convert into a number. That means we must able to handle both types, string and number. In that case, you can define union of types. But here, what is the value assigned? Latest value, what you given, it will assign. But it is ready to handle both. It can handle both string as well as number. Situation wise, it can change now. It can change string or number. That is what actually called as union of types. Not only two, there can be 3-4 types also. Currently we learned only 2 types. You can add multiple types also. Another pipe symbol, another. As of now we learned only 2, that's the reason I am showing you. Union of types allows to handle multiple data types. This is union of types. Right? That is one important. Another specialty about TypeScript is TypeScript supports type inference. TypeScript support type inference. What is the specialty about type inference means? Even you don't mention the data type. If you initialize a value, according to the value, automatically it will fix the data type according to value. According to the value, it can fix the type. That means, for example, see here, that is called type inference. In many interviews, they ask this. So in many interviews, they ask what is type inference. Type inference means, you see, for example, I defined let, I defined age. I am not mentioning the data type. If I am not mentioning the data type and I put some number into it, then automatically its data type is fixed as number. That is called type inference. Now you try to put into age any string, it is not allowed. It will not allow that. So that means then you may ask like, then what is the necessary of data type? That you can ignore. But every time we will not initialize na. Already we learned variable contains 3 phases. What are those? Declaration, initialization and assignment. That means here, remember, type inference is based on initialized value. That means, for example, here, see, actually, type inference means, actually, it is a technique where data type is determined determined, data type is determined according to value initialized, according to value initialized. That means if I say let x equal to 10, that means x is what? Number. X is number. And if I try to store some string into it, then it is invalid. It is invalid. It is invalid because it is fixed as what type? Number. For example, here another point is, see, it is only initializing. Suppose here, if you don't mention the data type, actually here one more point I will give here. If data type is not defined, then the default data type is not defined and value is not initialized. If data type is not defined, value also not initialized, then what is its type? Then the data type is defined as any. The data type is defined as any. Any is called root type. That means it can handle any type of data. Any is called root type. It can handle any type of data. That means you see now, I am not mentioning the data type. I am not initializing value also. Then what is its data type? You can see its data type is any. Any is root for all data types. Now I entered age is equal to 10. Now what is the data type of age? It is any only, not number. That means type inference is only when you initialize it. Here, have we initialized it? We are not initializing, we are assigning. That means into age, if I send a string, it is allowed. It is allowed. Restriction of type is only when you initialize. Only when you initialize. That means here, if I initialize to number, then only it is number type. If I don't initialize, its data type will be determined as any. And if it is any type, you can store any kind of value into it. There is no restriction for that. That means it works like a JavaScript variable now, right? So TypeScript have all the techniques of data type. It can restrict the type. It can allow multiple types. It can allow any type. That means lot of variations are supported by TypeScript data types. If you want to allow multiple types, then you have to use union. Without mentioning data type, if you want to restrict, then you can initialize. We call that as what? Type inference. Type inference. So type inference is nothing but according to value initialized, not assigned. If you don't initialize a value, then what is the data type? The data type is considered as what? Any type. Any is the root type. So we have two types, data types here. What are those data types? One is number, another one is string. And of course, I hope you all people know Boolean type also. Boolean type is defined with true or false. True or false. That is same like other languages. That means suppose I am defining let stock. Stock is a Boolean. That means it can handle true or false. You can use true or false. It cannot allow any another type. You can define Boolean types by using the keyword Boolean, right? So three basic data types. So the number, string and Booleans. Now we have several other types, null, undefined, arrays and others that we will see in our next session, right? So what I am doing is I am taking extra time. And for the people who are not having awareness on JavaScript also, no problem, you continue. I will explain those JavaScript basics also here. Understood? Right? No problem. You continue. I will explain those JavaScript basics also here, but later you have to learn separate JavaScript. Understood? You have to learn because to get perfection on Angular, you need that. Anyhow, here I will explain all the basics also. So there will be no problem in understanding. You can continue. Okay, right? Then tomorrow we don't have session. Our next session will be on Monday. And in Monday session, we will discuss other data types and how to use, right? Monday will continue, right? Google Class